Transportation funding, the Taxpayers Alliance says this: if transportation spending stayed at 2013 levels for the next 10 years, there'd be a deficit, a shortfall of $2 billion.
Right.
Is there a deficit? If so, how do you think it should be fixed, sir?
Part of that deficit is I don't know if the whole deficit is real, but there certainly is a funding shortfall. I don't have to look at the state financial statements to look at whether or not there's needs out there. I look at the roads out in our part of the state, and for the most part, in the last few years, we've sent a lot of money to the southeast part of the state with some huge projects and well-needed projects in the Milwaukee area. There is a need, and I think we need to take a look not only at additional resources, which I'm open to conversations on whether it's registration fees, gas tax, other alternatives for additional money. But I also think we need to take a look at how we spend our money. We need to get more money out of the dollars we spend in the transportation fund. For example, I've talked to contractors, operating engineers from around the state of Wisconsin that work on these projects, and they go to, again, halfway across the state from my district, work on bridge projects, transportation projects, and they build these beautiful structures with all kinds of cosmetics and shrubbery and all that. And they come back home, and some of our roads are virtually undrivable. And I believe we need to take care of the basics first. So some of these community enhancement features that drive up the cost of our road projects by 10% or more, I think we ought to take a good hard look at that and see if we can't get more of the basics taken care of. When we've got all our roads and bridges in the state of Wisconsin fixed, then maybe it's time to dial up the bridges and put more of the cosmetic features on them. But at this point, we've got some real needs in our part of the state, and I will be a very strong advocate for getting not only maybe growing the pie, but also for getting our share of the pie in southwest Wisconsin.
You're willing to consider either raising the $75 vehicle registration fee or the gas tax?
Yes.
Willing to consider it?
Sure, absolutely. I don't, I'm one of those people, I don't, to say we're never going to raise a price would be like me advising a client in our CPA firm saying, I'm never going to raise the price, and that would be irresponsible.
Well, we've got to do, I would have two things I would look at on this. First of all, we need to have a balanced approach that doesn't disproportionately impact any kind of transportation user and doesn't disproportionately impact any kind of community in Wisconsin. And then secondly, in particular, I've got to fight for our rural communities. We have particular and unique transportation patterns. For example, many of the people who live in Dodgeville, they commute all the way to Madison or they commute all the way to Dubuque. And if we have a mileage user fee that raises essentially a fee on people who have significant distances that they drive every year, that's going to disproportionately impact users in Dodgeville versus people who live in downtown in an urban area. And so my job is to fight for our rural communities, our rural users, and I'll make sure that whatever formula we use going forward, that it doesn't disproportionately impact people in southwest Wisconsin.
Would you consider raising the gas tax, which hasn't been increased since 2006, the $75 license plate renewal fee that hasn't been raised since 2008?
I think if you talk to policymakers about this and you talk to other candidates and elected officials on both sides of the aisle, and you talk to people on the street, so to speak, people in general, I think we can have a balanced approach that leaves all options on the table. And so I think that we can look at any option that's out there and try and make sure we diversify our approach.